If you suffer from sciatica, in today's video, I'm gonna go through some crucial things that you need to do in order to get a good night's sleep. Not only the sleeping position that you need to do, but exactly steps that you should take in order to get to sleep so your body can heal. I'm also gonna give you 5 stretches and exercises that you can do in order to take pressure off the nerve, take pressure off the spine, so that way while you are sleeping, you're gonna be able to heal. I'm Dr. Matthew Posa. I'm a corrective care chiropractor in Milton, Ontario, Canada. I help people get over their spine-related health concerns so they can live the life they were designed to live. So don't forget to like this video, share this with somebody you know that can really benefit, and don't forget to subscribe to the page so that way whenever I release a new video, you're the first to know. If you have sciatica, you understand what I'm saying. It's not only the pain in the back, it could be the pain that's going down your leg. It could be going all the way down to your foot. It could be sharp shooting. It could feel like electricity. You could get that numbness, the pain, the tingling, and it's relentless. If this is you, we know you're not getting enough sleep. We know that you're struggling with sleep. And so I need to show you today exactly what you can do at home tonight so that way you're gonna get a really good night's sleep. Sleep is important for healing, and so we need to get you to sleep. So the number one thing I'm gonna tell you right off the bat is that it doesn't matter what sleeping position you're in. What matters is that you're well supported. And so I'm gonna go through the 3 different types of sleeping positions. The most probably the best sleeping position to be in is going to be on your back. However, there are some of you out there that I know cannot do that for various types of reasons. So I'm going to show you how to do 2 other type of sleeping positions in order to support you. The other piece of advice I need to go through is also the type of bedding that you use, because some of you have really old beds. Some of you are sleeping on beds that are 15, 20 years old. And so that type of bed is no longer going to be supporting you. I mean, there's different types of beds out there. There's foam, there's ones with coils, there's independent coils, there's so many different types of beds. So really what it comes down to, if you're looking for a new bed or if you know that you need a new bed, what you need to look for is which is the bed that's going to give you the most support. What bed is going to help support your spine without sagging? And so, but we're not looking for firmness. Do not confuse firmness with support, because firmness would be the floor. And if that's what it was, then I would just say sleep on the floor. Now you're building up pressure points. So this is why you need some type of foam topper. You need something nice, cushiony to lay on. But when it comes from underneath the bed, the types of coils and even types of foam, then really what you're looking for is what's going to give me the most support. I actually sleep on a foam mattress, and so therefore I'm not partial to any way. It just, that's what I've chosen. It gave me the best support, and I found that it was the most comfortable. However, foam mattresses traditionally do get warmer. I'm sure as time goes on, we're going to see more technology go into the cooling system. The other one is going to be a coiled mattress. Now, when it comes to coils, the only thing you need to look for is how many coils. The more, the better. And the more, the better, because now we're spreading out pressure versus being less and less frequent coils, and therefore we're creating some pressure points. So this is something that's going to create a little bit more support for you, and you're going to be able to notice that difference, especially if you're the person who's waking up in the morning and the first thing they do when they come out of bed is that's it, that's where you're getting your pain. When I go and show you the sleeping positions, I'm also going to show you how to use your pillows to best support you. There are 2 supplements that you need to be taking when you have sciatica. The first supplement needs to be magnesium Bisglycinate. Now, magnesium Bisglycinate, there's 5 different types or main types of magnesium. And the one that I'm always going to recommend people is called Bisglycinate or glycinate. And you want to take 400 milligrams per day. I generally see better results when people spread it out through the day. So if you take 200 milligrams in the morning and 200 milligrams before bed, that generally is a great way to get your magnesium. It doesn't matter on the brand specific. I generally get this question quite a bit. Doesn't matter on the brand. What matters is the type. So magnesium Bisglycinate and taking 400, a minimum of 400 milligrams per day. When you are taking magnesium, it is important that you're giving your body enough water. So with every meal, you want to take at least 250 mils of water, which would be a bottle of water. So you want at least one of those every meal. And if you're somebody who eats 4 meals a day, then you definitely want to be upping your water intake, because magnesium has a high affinity towards water. A lot of people who have chronic disc issues or sciatica for various types of reasons, then they are usually dehydrated. They have less water. And so this is a good way to bring water back in. It's a natural muscle relaxant. So your muscles will actually get a little bit more calm and be able to decompress, less spastic, and therefore you're just gonna feel a lot better. The next vitamin that we're looking for is vitamin B12. And I would be taking that as a complex. So I'd be taking all the B vitamins, but I'm gonna be focusing on B12. So you don't have to take B12 alone, but what I want you to do is when you go to your store, you look at the label, I want you to look at the form of B12. You don't want it to say cyanocobalamin. Cyanocobalamin is a synthetic form of B12. It's not the natural form. Therefore, your body won't absorb it at the same rate as it would if it was methylcobalamin. If it's methylated, meaning it's an easier natural form for your body to take on, your body will assimilate that. It'll take that on and it'll properly use it. And that's what happens. A lot of people are taking B vitamins, they're taking their B12. However, what's happening is you're not absorbing it the same way because you're taking it in a synthetic form versus the natural form. So whatever the label says, generally the dosage amount would be exactly on the label there because they're generally consistent. When it came to the magnesium, I want you to up it, and that's why I'm suggesting the 400. The other great trick that I want you to also do is make sure you're applying heat to the area. Now, for some of you out there, heat may aggravate things. And if that's the case, then you're gonna stop. Don't apply any more heat. If it's a fresh, brand new sciatica, it just happened, then I would be applying actually some cold to that. But most of the people watching this video are gonna be in a chronic state. It would have been there for a long time. Therefore, we're gonna wanna heat up the area because we want the muscles to relax and we want them to calm down. Heat is a great way of doing that, especially moist heat. So heating pads are okay, but one of the best tricks you can do before you go to bed tonight is you're gonna pour yourself a nice hot bath. You're gonna add Epsom salt to the bath. And the reason why we like Epsom salt is because the salt actually has high concentrations of magnesium. And therefore it's gonna absorb through your skin, through the bath water, into your body, and now your muscles are gonna get replenished with the magnesium right before you go to bed. So you're getting a double dose. You're getting the heat in order to relax the muscles and the magnesium in order to relax the muscles. So try that tonight right before you go to bed. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you exactly how to sleep, what positions to sleep. The best position to sleep in is gonna be on your back. This is the safest one for most people. And so what you wanna do is just make sure that the pillow is actually through the top of your shoulders. You want that bottom of your pillow to be through the top of the shoulders so that way your head can come properly back. A lot of the times what's happening with a lot of people is the pillow is too thick. And so when the pillow becomes too thick, your heads are like this, and you're actually stretching out the spinal cord. And the spinal cord not only goes through here, it goes all the way to the bottom of your spine. And that tethering, that pulling on the spinal cord can actually make your sciatica worse. It could actually be the source of it, but it could be making it worse. So what you want to do is make sure that when you put yourself back, that the pillow itself is low enough so your head can come back. And now you actually have a supported neck. You're in a better position. You're pulling less on the spinal cord. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take a pillow. Now I have a round pillow. You don't need to buy a round pillow. You're just going to take your regular pillow. And what you're going to do is you're going to place it not necessarily underneath your knees, but you're going to go through your hamstrings. So think of it just as underneath your bum. And you're going to go like this. Now this is such a nice relaxing way to decompress your back. What it's actually doing is it's pushing your low back flat against the bed.
And because it's pushing it flat against the bed, it's taking pressure off the muscle that's here in the front called the psoas muscle. Now the psoas muscle is also known as the hip flexor. But what you're doing now is you're taking pressure off of that. So that way when you're sleeping tonight, you're pulling out on the disc, you're actually pulling pressure off of the disc versus compressing it with those muscles. And that's going to give you an incredible amount of relief. And you should actually start to feel like you can actually sleep in this position. However, there are some of you that just had surgeries. There's some of you that had falls. There's some of you that simply cannot lay back like this because there's some other things going in on your spine that you need some help with and you can't sleep. So then comes the side position. When you're sleeping on your side, there's a few things that you want to make sure you're doing. Number one, again with the headpiece. A lot of people have small pillows. And so what happens if you see me just in this position, based on my frame, if I were to lay down on my side and I go like this, look what happens to my neck. My neck is bending down. So one side is actually getting pinched, the other side is being stretched. And that can actually cause a lot of irritation, not only on the spinal cord, on the bones themselves, but the nerves. And so some of you might even be getting tingles and numbness into the hands, or you're waking up, you got the shoulder pains. It's because you're not well supported. So again, in this case, now you want a thicker pillow. And so what you want to do is you want to make sure the pillow is thick enough in order to keep your spine and your head straight. So in this case, I have two of these small pillows here at the office. So I'm going to put two here. And now when I lay down like this is actually really comfortable. I feel less pressure on my neck. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take another pillow. And again, I'm going to go back to this round pillow. Again, you don't need the round pillow. You just need a pillow. And now what you want to do is you want to make sure, because what's happening is my leg. See, normally this would be a normal alignment for the legs. But what happens is when you're sleeping on your side, that gap comes down. That puts a lot of pressure on your SI joint, puts a lot of pressure on the nerves that come down, the muscles in your legs. It can really cause and add pressure to already a system that needs help. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a pillow and you're just going to place that in between. We're widening the gap and we're now able to lay down like this, sleep however you want to put your arm, but you can sleep like this and now you're supporting your spine. Your spine is laying neutral and therefore you're supported. But imagine this, imagine if you have a curve in your spine, you have some other things going on, the reason for the sciatica, and now your bed is also sagging. So this is where in some cases, if you have a really saggy bed, this is where you would take another pillow and you would actually place this underneath the part that you know is sagging down, right through this part, and you would actually lift that up. However, in those cases, I always recommend that once you go to your chiropractor, especially a corrective care chiropractor, they're taking the x-rays and they'll be able to tell you specifically where to place these pillows in order to help support you at night. Now the last position is going to be the controversial position. However, again, I'm thinking of all the different types of cases and there's so many out there. So sleeping on your tummy can be incredibly valuable for some of you. So what we're going to do is we're just going to make some modifications to this position right now. However, if you have a disc issue, if you have a lot of low back pain, you tried this position and it hurts, please stop. Like the whole point of this is to give you a position that works. And so you go on your back or on your side. What I would do if I'm sleeping on my actual tummy is I'm going to take my pillow, but instead of having it this way, so the way that you would normally place a pillow, in this case, I'm going to put it this way. Now, what this does is it's going to start helping to support my chest. So that way, when I lay down, and sorry about the mic here, but if I lay down and I come this way, I'm actually going to be supporting my chest. So I don't get this full flat effect. Like what we're trying to do is we're trying to prevent you from going completely flat like this, because you don't have a hole like I do have in the adjusting table in order to put your face. So you're going to have to turn your head the whole night. And that, again, can strain your neck. But also, if the bed is saggy, well, guess what you're doing? You're hyperextending your back. And for most of you, that's going to cause a psoas problem, which is why I'm going to show you how to stretch that out. But in this position, you don't want to do that. So take your long pillow, bring it down like this. So the top end of the pillow is just enough for your head. And then the bottom end here is going to support some of the chest. So you're a little bit more like this. And now what you're going to see is I'm taking one of my legs, I'm placing it behind, or so my foot's going behind the crease of my knee, and I can support myself this way. That is one way of sleeping. If you need a little bit more, you could throw your hand underneath, but you have to watch for your shoulders, so everybody's a little bit different. The last thing you can also do is put a pillow underneath this knee when you're laying down that way in order to create less tension. So it's kind of like a side stomach position, not a pure stomach position. So for some of you, that's going to be great. All right, let's go through some of the stretching I want you to do before bed. So one of the things I talked about was magnesium before bed. So you're going to take that at night with your B vitamins. We talked about taking a hot bath with Epsom salt in order, again, a little bit more magnesium, but also the heat, which is going to help some of the muscles. And you're going to place that, again, right on the area that you feel it, especially in the low back where you know those nerves are being irritated. But the last thing that I want you to do is stretch out the area. Now, this is the position that I want you to get in, because now we're stretching out the most common reason for some of you to get the low back pain, disc pain, but also the sciatica. So what you're going to do is you're going to do a lunge position. So one knee is down, the other knee is up, and you'll see here that my foot is actually going to be out a little bit in front. I don't want my knee to pass my actual toes. And what I'm going to do is, so I would set this up next to your bed so that way you have something to actually lean on if you need to. But what you're going to do is you're going to drive your hip forward. Now, as you drive your hip forward, the muscle that attaches to all the lower spine and including into the hip, you're actually going to start to feel that in the front of your leg. You're going to feel it through the front top end of your quad. And that's where you want to stretch, because what you want to do is bring yourself down this way. We're not coming forward with this. We're bringing our hip this way. We're maintaining good posture. And then what you could do to make it even more accentuated, really, really target that muscle, is you're going to take, so this case would be the right side that I'm doing. So right knee down, right psoas, that's the muscle that we're stretching, the hip flexor. But I'm going to take my right hand and I'm going to bring it over. I'm going to arch over this way as I come down. And then I'm going to hold this for about 40 seconds. Now, why do I want to hold this for 40 seconds? What we want to do is make some neurological changes in the body, and therefore we need to hold it a little bit longer than if we were just doing like a 5-10 second stretch. It needs to be about 40 seconds. Now, most of you are going to have one side that's going to be tighter than the other. However, in the beginning, you could do both. Eventually, you're going to start to realize that one side is going to be tighter, and then you can start to focus on that. So I do 40 seconds on one side, 40 seconds on the other. And then, again, once you get a little bit more comfortable and you really feel the difference between sides, focus on the side that is going to be a little bit more troubling. The next stretch is your hamstring stretch. Now, the hamstrings run at the back, and this can actually put your pelvis into a negative position, which is going to be compressing your disc. Again, we actually want a nice lordosis in your spine. We want a natural lordosis. But a lot of you are getting up like this. You're moving this way. You're walking stooped forward because your body can't even get to that position. That means the hamstrings are pulling. They're working extra hard. Your psoas muscle is tight. So after doing that psoas stretch, what we want to do is do the hamstrings. Now, there's a couple ways of doing the hamstrings. For some of you, you won't be able to do it standing, so I'll show you how to do that. But the standing one is quite simple. Find something that's high. You can do it on a chair, on a sofa, on a bed. You want to make sure that your knee is down. So your knee is down. If it pops up, first of all, you probably have really tight hamstrings like myself. But what you want to do is you want to bring this down. And quite simply, all you're doing in this position is you're hinging from the hip forward. That's the stretch. That's all you have to do. It's not much harder than that. All you're doing is hinging yourself forward. You're feeling that pressure in the back. And again, you want to hold this for as long as you can. But again, we want to get close to that 30 seconds, 40 seconds if you can, because that's where we're getting that neurological change. We're just holding, we're breathing into it. If you need to, apply a little bit of pressure. But if you're coming forward and you're seeing that knee pop, that's not doing anything. You really want to make sure that you're down. The other way of doing it is laying down. So if you are, or sitting down on a chair, or I would do this actually on the bed, because we're gonna be supporting our foot like this. And again, all we're doing is hinging. So instead of doing it standing, all you're gonna do is hinge. For some of you, if you have a towel, you could put it at the base right here and really get a deeper stretch. Now you're gonna get some of the lower leg muscles in there, so the gastroc and the soleus muscle. But really in this case, again, I'm pushing my knee down when I do this as I hinge forward. So that's another great way of doing the hamstring. While I'm sitting, then I'm gonna transition to the piriformis, which is a muscle that causes a lot of sciatica and a lot of pain for people in the low back. So what you're gonna do is the figure 4. So this is where it gets the name. We're creating a 4 in the air. And all we wanna do with this one is we wanna try a couple positions. The first position is where you're sitting like this. I'm gonna push down on my knee a little bit, but again, we're hinging forward. You notice how most of these are a hinge. So what's happening is we're coming a little bit forward. I'm making sure my chest is up as I come forward and I'm pushing down. Now you're gonna get a sensation. You're gonna feel that in the hip. For some of you, this is the position, but there's others where you're not gonna feel like you hit quite right. And therefore we gotta target a little bit more of the piriformis muscle. So instead of getting into the hip, into that area that might be dysfunctional, this is a good hip stretch. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna, instead of pushing down, we're gonna go the opposite way as we hinge forward. So I'm gonna grab my knee with both hands, I'm gonna pull it towards my chest, and I'm gonna come forward a little bit. Right away, you're gonna feel this in the piriformis, right through the bum. This is a great stretch for some of you that really need to decompress that sciatica, stretch out that piriformis muscle in order to get that relief. Hold this again for about 30 to 40 seconds or as long as you can, and you can repeat all these stretches for as many times as you want. Another great stretch for your low back is gonna be what I call the Madonna. Now the Madonna is just, you take your leg in front of the other. I'm gonna hold, so in this case, it would be my left leg is over my right knee, and this is where I'm gonna try and stretch my low back. And what I'm doing is I'm gonna take my right hand, place it on my knee, I'm gonna grab the back of the table here, and I'm just gonna hold this side stretch. I'm gonna be turning my body. Now this is gonna really stretch the low back. Now with this one, you're gonna wanna hold this for only about 5 to 10 seconds. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna switch sides if you can. If you can't do it seated, I'll show you how to do that on your back in a second. Again, it'll be switching sides, grabbing, turning my body, holding this position. Again, holding 5 to 10 seconds, not too long, just enough to get a stretch in there. Most people that have disc issues are gonna want to avoid this one. So if you start trying this and you notice that your disc is starting to play up, that you're getting a lot of that pressure through there, then the disc, just don't do that exercise anymore or that stretch, because that tells you that there's a huge disc problem there, and you're gonna wanna get that fixed by your corrective care chiropractor. If anything, make sure you get this cleared with your family doctor in order to make sure that these are gonna be safe for you depending on the condition, or even if you've had surgery. So if you've had surgery before, these things, you have rods in your spine, cement, other types of discectomies. There's so many reasons why people have these issues. Really what comes down to is this video is a generalized, these are the top things that help people. However, you need somebody who can specifically tell you which ones to do. So if you're under corrective care chiropractic in your area and you're under that type of care, then these are gonna serve you well. You can absolutely ask your chiropractor which are the best ones for you. The other thing you could do is obviously ask your medical doctor that you could show them the video and ask them which one works best too. The last thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna be doing the hamstring. Now let me just show you how to do that on your back. Now when you do this on your back, it's gonna be almost the exact same thing. So I'm gonna lay down on the floor. I would do this on the floor. I'm gonna bring one leg over the other leg. But in this case, don't lift up your low back. Like if you can clearly do this, you're not really getting the stretch that you're looking for. What we want to do is push down on the leg. So I'm pushing down on the leg without lifting my low back, and I would just make sure my arm is out. And then I would do the same thing on the other side. So it'd be like this, my arm would be out, and I'm just holding this position. So that's a good way. Don't try to manipulate your back. Don't try to pop it. That's not the point of this. The point is to get a deep stretch in order to calm down those muscles and those nerves. I do want to show you the glute activation, because in most people that have these spinal problems, the glute muscles, which is your bum muscles, when they're not strong enough, what they're actually doing is they're not supporting your spine. Now, your glute muscles are great extensors of your spine. So there's a lot of you, again, you're like this, you're forward, you're using your hamstrings. The glutes are weak and the abs are weak, and there's a lower cross syndrome going on. And again, these are some other videos I've made if you need a refresh on that. But what's happening here is we want to squeeze those glutes in order to get stronger. So if you can't lay down, you can't sit down, this is a great way of doing it. All you're going to do is squeeze your bum. So you're going to imagine you have a piece of paper, put it between your bum cheeks, and I shouldn't be able to pull on the piece of paper. So we're squeezing the bum, we're holding this for 5 to 10 seconds, and then letting go. Like the next day after doing this one, you should actually feel like sore, like you worked out your bum. Then the other way of doing this one would be laying down. So you would go lay down, and again in this one, because so don't use your hands with this, but all you're gonna do is relax everything, and then you're gonna squeeze your bum enough that your head comes up. You're gonna hold this for 5 to 10 seconds, and then again it'd be letting go. You'd be squeezing again your bum, holding it for 5 to 10 seconds, enough that you're actually lifting off. If you're squeezing your bum and you're not lifting up, you're not really doing the right move. You want to be able to squeeze the whole thing so that way we're engaging the entire system. Now I do want to leave you with a bonus tip, and this is a decompression tip. So some of you that have the disc issues that are causing the sciatica, this is a great way of decompressing your spine and getting some pressure off the nerves and off the disc. And all you're going to do is you're going to go at the end of your bed. You could do this over the end of a couch, but I like doing this at the end of a bed. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it so my pelvis, the side and the front of my hip, is going to actually go onto the side of the bed. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my arms. In this case, I can hold on to the table here, but I'm going to let my legs fall and drop. And then slowly with my breath, I'm going to be breathing in, breathing out. I'm going to let go of my low back. I'm going to let the legs pull down on the low back. And that way we can really decompress the spine, really let go of the spine. I'm going to hold this for about 30 seconds, and then I'm slowly going to re-engage the muscles, re-engage my legs, and that way I'm going to slowly take the pressure back onto the disc so that way I can get back up. That is a great way of doing it. The other way of doing it is you can go against a counter in your kitchen. I like doing the corner. So if you do have a nice corner, you're going to push yourself up. You're going to let go of your legs, but you still be on your tippy toes. So that way you're not taking so much pressure off your low back and putting all the pressure on your arms that you can actually hurt your low back. So this is a great way of decompressing your spine and making sure that you're going to actually get some relief. So that is all the advice I can give you. There's a lot of things to unpack there. I'm sure if you have questions, by all means, leave it down below. I will always do my best to get back to you and give you some clarity on anything. But these are all the top ways that you can decompress your spine, that you can get a good night's sleep, and more importantly, actually sleep so that way your body can heal. Support your body, give it what it needs. Make sure you're staying on top of your nutrition. Make sure that you're getting exercise in. There's so many things that you can do, but most importantly, make sure you're under care with a really good corrective care chiropractor that can assess your spine, track your progress, and make sure that you are actually getting better.